So today I'm going to be speaking about aging and disability. Um, so one of the first questions was, what is your personal understanding of what it means to be old? Um, and what is your personal understanding of it means of being disabled? So for me, being old, whenever you're getting older, you're gaining a lot of wisdom, experience, and knowledge. Just by living life, you're just gaining so much more knowledge and wisdom. Like my grandpa, that guy is super knowledgeable about everything. He's 75 years old. He's been through it all, and he's made the mistakes, and that's what really defines you as when you're older, because you live through life and you learn from experience. They always give you all these kind of lectures, but they're not really lectures. They've been through it and they just want you to learn from their mistakes. But even at that time, when people are telling you stuff like that, sometimes you just don't listen and just have to experience it for yourself. And then you go back and say, oh, I should have listened to him or her or whoever the case may be. One about gaining wisdom, I would say about when I first purchased my first car, I was about 18 years old. I went in there, I went by myself, didn't ask anybody for help, nothing like that. I went in there and the guy's like, here's your car, $19,000. And I said, okay, agreed, boom, signed on the dotted line. And, a couple months later, I found out that you can actually talk them down and get a lower price, and I would have known that if I would ask somebody for help or gain some knowledge. But I lived through it and experienced from it. They always have these little quotas where you could, where you have this gap of percentage that you could go down. So when I bought my next couple of cars, I used that knowledge and I talked them down and got what I wanted for the vehicles. Did some research, found out what the vehicle was worth, and that's how I got through it. Being disabled, to me, I believe it's relying on other people for help. Once you get older or get in an accident, something like that, being in a wheelchair, that's a crusher for most, because I don't think it would be as bad as for me now, because I'm younger and I'll be able to manage on my own. But definitely when you get older, you're in a wheelchair, you're gonna need to rely on people to helping you with daily tasks. And to me, that's what what being disabled is, relying on other people for assistance. So today, next question was, how might your understanding of aging and disability compared to someone of a different generation? So earlier today, I called my grandma and I was asking her what she had thought about aging. She mentioned getting old isn't bad. It's as long as she could do her daily tasks, clean, cook, do stuff for herself. It's not bad at all. But she said the same thing about getting wisdom and knowledge and such. The funny thing was too, I asked her about the disability. She mentioned the exact same thing as I did about the wheelchair and such. That's my grandma too. She's real independent and wouldn't want other people assisting or helping her do stuff. She likes to do stuff herself. And seeing that's the thing about herself. She feels as if she can't help herself, she don't want to be alive, because she don't want to rely on other people doing her things for her. Another question. If someone in your family needed care due to aging and or disability, who would be responsible for providing the care and why? I believe it should be their children. Paying a caretaker, sometimes, it just depends who you get. They may not care for the person, they might leave them, all dirty, not bathing them, stuff like that. Being defecated, you don't really know what was going on, and you don't know if you get there at the end and that's when they're doing all their stuff just to even if they're being nice to them, it's hard. I think it should be a family member, like their children, and sometimes even their children may not feel the same for their parents. Like for me, family is everything. I would take care of my family and help them out. But some people are not like that, so it just really depends. But for my parents and such, I would rather take care of them than having to rely on some other people that are not family to take care of them because they don't care sometimes. You might get those couple of gems that do care and do take real well care of your parents, but sometimes you don't get that. And so for me, I would want to take care of my parents. Let's see the next question. Describe some ways in your life been impacted by aging or disability, either your own or someone else's. I would say for myself, whenever you're younger, you don't really have too much responsibility. You have a lot, or you have some, but not really. Really your responsibilities are doing chores, going to school, and that's really it. When you get older, you have to provide for your family. Like me myself, I have 2 kids, one 9-year-old daughter and one 9-month-old son. And in my eyes, my job is to provide for them and make sure that we have a house over our heads. My wife doesn't work; she stays home with the baby. Due to him being so little, we decided not to put him in daycare because this world's so crazy. You see on the news all the time about all this bad stuff happening, and it's just sick. And I don't want to be putting my son exposed to that, trusting in strangers that I don't even know myself, and you don't really know who they hire. Some people say, oh, they do background checks and this and that, but hey, just because they did a background check doesn't mean that they have got caught for the bad stuff that they've done. So for me, that was hard, especially because you don't know how to talk yet. And that's one of the biggest things, because my daughter, we had her in daycare. She would say what was going on throughout the day, or, she talks. And, kids do talk quite a bit. So for that reason, that was one of my lifestyles, I'd say. And different cultures, people think about aging and disability a little different, just depending on what. So like Buddhism, they believe that they're going to be reincarnated when they die. There's so much, different cultures, religiously. Like me, I feel like we'll go to heaven, and there's just so many different cultures out there that have all these different aspects of what happens when we get older or pass away. And that's okay, everyone has their own rights to believe, and from where they're from and how they were raised. And that's one of the things too. People think, I noticed a lot of people, I've been through it where I'm Catholic, and people that are Christians sometimes say stuff that, like preach about God and stuff, and try converting me into a Christian when Catholics and Christians are basically the same. There's some differences, but they're basically the same. But there's been incidents where they try converting me to their Christianity, and it's just everyone's culture, but I don't believe that's right for other people to do that, though, to push their religion or beliefs on other people. I don't ask anybody about what they are or anything like that, because there's no need for it. I don't need to know what you are, because if I like you for the person, you're the person. It's not because you're Christian, Catholic, or practice Buddhism or anything like that. It should be for who you are. I really abide by that. Don't talk about religion or politics to other people, because it just never works out. Um, Another question here is based on what we've learned so far in this class and how you feel we as a society can do better at addressing the social and healthcare needs of aging or disabled. I really never, I guess, thought of how diverse our society is. And it's pretty crazy because just learning all this different stuff, and I bet it's kind of opened up my eyes. Before I was just like, oh yeah, whatever, about how people, religions and all that. I never really got into their beliefs or anything like that because, I practice my own, and like I was saying previously, it doesn't matter to me what you are. If I like you as a person, that's, you know what I mean. But I never asked them about their beliefs or religions or cultures. But now after taking this class, I've really been thinking of